ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in story form, chapter 57, The Atrocities of King Kaṁsa, Canto 10. After the palace doors once again locked automatically, the watchman awoke upon hearing the crying of the newborn child. They hurriedly approached King Kaṁsa, who had been anxiously awaiting this news, and so he immediately got up from his bed, thinking, now the cruel death of my life is born. Being very upset and his hair scattered, Kangsha quickly went to the prison. Seeing him approach, Devaki helplessly pleaded, my dear brother, all good fortune to you. Please, it is not right for you to kill this baby girl. By the influence of destiny, you have already killed many babies, each of them as bright as fire. Just spare me this daughter. Being bereft of my children, I am very unfortunate because I am your younger daughter. It is befitting that you give me this last child as a gift. Being the daughter of a Kshatriya, Devaki knew very well how to act diplomatically, and yet, even though she cried very piteously while embracing her child, Kamsa was so cruel that he rebuked her as he forcibly grabbed the baby from her hands. While on his knees, Kamsa held the baby by the legs and then attempted to dash her against the stone floor. The child, Yogmaya, the younger sister of Lord Vishnu, slipped out of Kamsa's hands and rose up into the sky, where she appeared as goddess Durga with 8 arms. She was decorated with flower garlands, smeared with sandalwood paste, and dressed in excellent garments and ornaments made of valuable jewels. She had in her hands a bow, trident, arrows, shield, sword, console, disc, and club. While being praised by celestial beings who worshipped her with various articles, she said, O Kamsa, you fool, what is the use in killing me? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has been your enemy from the beginning and who will certainly kill you, has already been born somewhere else. You should therefore not unnecessarily kill other children. After speaking to Kangsha, the goddesses Durga, Yogmaya appeared in different places on the earth and became celebrated as various names. Kamsa was astonished to see how the goddesses Durga had appeared as his sister's daughter. He concluded that Devaki could not be an ordinary human being. Kamsa also wondered how the eighth child of Devaki could be a girl. Feeling very guilty, he immediately went and released Vasudeva and Devaki from their shackles and humbly spoke as follows: O my sister, my brother in law, I am so sinful that I am just like a man eater, Rakshasa, that eats his own child. I have killed so many of your sons. Being merciless and cruel, I have forsaken all my relatives and friends, and so I do not know what my destination will be. Oh, not only human beings, but sometimes even Providence lies. I am so sinful that I believed Providence prophecy and then killed so many of my sister's children. O great souls, your children have suffered their own misfortune, and so do not grieve for them. The real self is eternal and distinct from the temporary embodiment. One who does not understand this becomes too attached to the bodily conception of life and thus becomes overly affected by union and separation from family and friends. My dear sister Devaki, everyone suffers and enjoys the results of his own work under the control of providence. In the bodily conception of life, one thinks, I am being killed, and I have killed my enemies. Indeed, as long as one considers himself to be the killer of the killed, he continues to be responsible for material actions and thus suffers the reactions. My dear sister and brother in law, please be merciful to such a poor hearted person as me and excuse my atrocities. Having said this, Kamsa fell at Vasudeva and Devaki's feet, his eyes full of tears of regret. Fully believing the words of Goddess Durga, Kamsa once again exhibited familial affection for Vasudeva and Devaki and immediately released them from their iron shackles. Although Kamsa is described as a demon, he had good knowledge of the distinction between spirit and matter. Unlike modern day politicians, unlike modern day politicians, by the grace of the Lord, he felt genuine regret for having prosecuted great devotees like Vasudeva and Devaki. Kamsa felt that Devaki should excuse him, for by deeply analyzing the matter, it could be understood that he was not the real cause of the death of her sons. He was not the real cause of the death of her sons. He was no doubt the immediate cause, but the remote cause was the baby's own past deeds. By the grace of the Lord, Kamsa felt sincere regret and thus came to the transcendental stage of knowledge. Because of this, he felt that he was no longer responsible for the actions and reactions that continue on the bodily platform. Addressing Vasudeva and Devaki as similarly enlightened souls, Kamsa begged them to forgive and forget as such elevated persons do. The example is given that sometimes dirty foam and garbage may be floating on the surface of the Ganga, for that is the nature of water, but still one who goes there to bath does not mind this. Pushing aside such nasty things, one bathes in the Ganga and gains the benefit. When Devaki saw that her brother was actually repentant while explaining the nature of ordained events, she became relieved of her anger. Vasudeva also saw that Kamsa need not be blamed, for behind all these incidents was a great plan devised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After all, Kamsa had acted only because a prophecy had been announced from the sky, and now that the Lord had already appeared and was in the safe custody of Yashoda, everything was happening according to plan. Thus, there was no need to maintain any ill feeling toward Kamsa. Taking advantage of the favorable situation, Vasudeva smilingly said, O greatly fortunate one, it is only out of ignorance that one accepts the material body to be his self. What you have said is absolutely correct. One who is under the control of material nature can never act independently, for everything is done automatically by nature's laws. Persons in ignorance always differentiate according to the bodily conception, and then and they are busy trying to counteract immediate causes because they have no knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Kamsa felt very pleased to hear all these. With the permission of Vasudeva and Devaki, he returned home with a relieved mind, for his guilt had subsided. The next morning, Kamsa summoned his ministers and informed them of how Yogmaya had told him that the child who would kill him had already been born elsewhere. Maya keeps the conditioned souls sleeping in the darkness of ignorance. Thus, Yogmaya kept Kamsa in darkness about the truth regarding Krishna's birth. After hearing this, the envious Asuras said, If this is so, then starting from today, let us kill all the children born within the last 10 days or so in all the surrounding towns and villages. Even the demigods are afraid of you. So, what can they do? Indeed, while fighting with you, many demigods fled while others surrendered in fear. Being mindful of the rules for fighting, you spared their lives. We need not fear Lord Vishnu, for he has hidden in the hearts of the yogis. Lord Shiva has gone to the forest, and Lord Brahma is always engaged in meditation and austerities. The other demigods, headed by Indra, have no prowess, and so there is nothing to be afraid of. Of course, being our enemies, the demigods should not be neglected, just as disease, fire, and death should be completely eradicated, lest they increase later on. Hmm. Disease, fire, and death should be completely eradicated, lest they increase later on, or as the senses must be controlled from the start, since they may become impossible to control later on. So, an enemy must never be neglected. The foundation of all the demigods is Lord Vishnu, who lives wherever sacrifices are performed. Therefore, Brahmanas, cows who supply ghee for sacrifice, and sacrifices are the limbs of Lord Vishnu's body. O king, we are all your followers, and so we shall kill all the Brahmanas and cows, for this is the means for killing Lord Vishnu. After hearing this form, After hearing this from his demoniac ministers, Kaṁsa, who was of bad intelligence, being himself a demon, decided to persecute all saintly persons, considering this to be the way to achieve his good fortune. These demons, the followers of Kaṁsa, could assume any form they desired. After giving them permission to go everywhere and persecute saintly devotees, Kaṁsa entered his palace. हरि बोल ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय.